Welcome back, dear students, once again to your channel. In today's video, we shall be discussing a very popular short story by Satyajit Ray. Yes, this video is for my class 9 students, and we would be doing a short story from your treasure chest. But before I begin, you know what's coming up next? Yes, if you find these videos helpful and interesting, do not forget to give me a like and also subscribe to my channel. It shall keep me motivated. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. I am on page 69 of your treasure chest. Let's see about the author section. This is very important and you must go through it. Okay, so Satyajit Ray, he was born in 1921 and 1992 is when he passed away. Was one of India's greatest filmmakers, author, illustrator, and music composer. Ray is celebrated for works including the Opu trilogy, The Music Room, The Big City, and Charlotte. These are some of the notable films that Satyajit Ray had directed. Bonku Babu's friend is an excerpt. Excerpt means a part. So you do not have the entire story here, you just have an excerpt from Three Rays Stories from Satyajit Ray has been chosen because of its popularity among young readers. So it goes without saying that this is one of the most celebrated short stories of Satyajit Ray. Bonku Babu's Friend, which was conceptualized a long time ago, is an inspiration for Indian writers of science fiction. Bonku Babu, a gentle school teacher who was bullied by all who knew him, stumbles upon an alien spacecraft. This discovery gives him the confidence to stand up against all those who mocked and taunted him, that is, all those who made fun of him. A gentle reminder that standing up to a bully is the only way to overcome this social evil. So, this is a very, very important and pertinent short story in today's world. You know, laughing is always good, it is always healthy. But if you're laughing at others and not with the others, it is very, very problematic. When we laugh at others, often we end up hurting that person. And it is no way right, and it is not even our right to hurt a person. All right, so bullying should not be allowed under any circumstances, nor should we indulge in it, nor should we let others in get the better of it. So, Bonku Babu's Friend by Satyajit Ray. No one had ever seen Bonku Babu get cross, that is, get angry. To tell the truth, it was difficult to imagine what he might say or do if one day he did get angry, because nobody has seen him getting angry, so nobody really knew how he would react once he got angry. It was not as if there was never any reason for him to lose his temper. For the last 22 years, Bonku Babu had taught geography and Bengali at the Kakurgachi village primary school, so he was a teacher. Every year, a new batch of students replaced the old one, but old or new, the tradition of teasing poor Bonku Babu continued among the students. So, students were very naughty, they would usually make fun of him. Some drew his cartoon on the blackboard, others put glue on his chair, or on the night of Kali Pujo, they lit a chasing rocket and set it off right behind him. So these were the various methods in which Bonku Babu would be teased by his students. Bonku Babu did not get upset by any of this. Only sometimes he cleared his throat and said, "Shame on you, boys." One of the reasons for maintaining his calm was simply that he couldn't afford to do otherwise. If he did lose his temper and left his job in a fit of pique, that is anger, He knew how difficult it would be to find another at his age because he was quite aged. So no school would really want to recruit him. Another reason was that in every class there were always a few good students, even if the rest of the class was full of pranksters. So a handful of students would always be there in every class who would be very diligent and sincere in their work, and they would, want the teacher to give the maximum to them. So for them, Bonku Babu would not, lose his anger. Teaching this handful of good boys was so rewarding that to Bonku Babu that alone made life as a teacher worth living. He was very happy and proud to teach these students. At times, he invited those boys to his house, offered them snacks, and told them tales of foreign lands and exciting adventures. He told them about life in Africa, the discovery of the North Pole, the fish in Brazil that ate human flesh, and about Atlantis, the continent submerged under the sea. He was a good storyteller. He always had his audience enthralled, engaged, and engrossed. So he would go beyond the syllabus for these handful of students, and he would enjoy those sessions immensely with these children. During the weekend, Bonku Babu went to the lawyer Sripati Mojumdar's house to spend the evenings with other regulars. So there would be all men coming there and they would spend the time talking and chatting. But it would so happen that more often than not, these people would, engage in such conversations which would be very demeaning for Bonku Babu. On a number of occasions, he had come back thinking, enough, never again. The reason was simply that he could put up with the pranks played by the boys in his school. When grown ups, even middle aged men, started playing the fool with him, it became too much to bear. So, children making fun of him, children troubling him was of its own kind. And now here he had middle aged men poking fun and, making fun of him. At these addas, that is informal gatherings, that Sripati Babu hosted in the evenings, nearly everyone poked fun at Bonku Babu, sometimes bringing his endurance almost to breaking point. That is, he would almost break down emotionally. Only the other day, less than 2 months ago, they were talking about ghosts. Usually, Bonku Babu kept his mouth shut. That day, for some unknown reason, he opened it and declared that he was not afraid of ghosts. That was all. But it was enough to offer a golden opportunity to others. On his way back home later that night, Bonku Babu was attacked by a spook. Spook is a ghostly figure. As he was passing under a tamarind tree, a tall, thin figure leapt down and landed on his back. As it happened, this apparition had smeared black ink all over itself, possibly at the suggestion of someone at the meeting. Bonku Babu was not at all afraid. So you see, what happened is here, because he had mentioned in that Adda session that he's not afraid of ghosts. So what did these men do? One of them dressed up as a ghost and came down and spilled ink all over him. It was in a way to test whether Bonku Babu was speaking the truth or not. So that was the condition. Bonku Babu was not frightened, but he was injured because someone jumping from him over the tree is very, very difficult. For 3 days, his neck ached, so he had a stiff shoulder. Worst of all, his new kurta was torn and it had black stains all over. So not only psychological this thing, but also grave injury was done physically. What kind of joke was this? Even so, Bonku Babu had to come to these meetings. If he didn't, what would Sripati Babu think? Not only was he a very important man, in the social committee and in the village, but he couldn't do without Bonku Babu, who could prove amusement to all. So Bonku Babu was the butt of ridicule for everyone. Okay, people would laugh at his expense, and it was expected that Bonku Babu would be present there every day, you know, to be the butt of ridicule. How strange this is! This is the predicament of a middle class normal man, because he does not have a lot of power in his hand, because he's essentially powerless, he's not that well off economically. Therefore, he is put at the fag end of a social system which crushes him regularly. One particular day, the topic of this conversation was space. In other words, they were talking of spaceships and space travel. Soon after sunset, a moving point of light had been seen in the northern sky. A similar light was seen 3 months ago, which has led to much speculation. In the end, it had turned out to be a Russian satellite called Kotka, or was it Foska? Because they were unable to pronunciate the name properly, it was they were deliberating on what would be the correct pronunciation be. Anyway, this satellite was supposed to be going around the Earth at a height of 400 miles and providing a lot of valuable information to scientists. That particular evening, Bonku Babu was the first to spot the strange light. Then he called Nidhu Babu and showed it to him. However, when he arrived at the meeting, he found that Nidhu Babu had coolly claimed full credit for being the first person to see it and was boasting a great deal about it. We all have these kind of people around us. They get to do a lot of things because of us, but when it comes to give the credit, they take it all on themselves and they do not wish to let others know that it was because of somebody else that they have been able to achieve whatever they have achieved. So we should be very cautious against such people. Uh, Bonku Babu said nothing. No one in the group knew much about satellites, but that did not stop them from offering them views. If you remember this, when Chandrayaan 3 was launched into space, all the people who were least knowledgeable about science and scientists, they started pouring in their comments. Okay, so what does it show? Empty vessels make the most noise? Yes. Also, you see, on any cricket match you take, India playing against any country, 1 wicket down, 2 wicket down, 3 wicket down, or worse for the worse, the match is lost by the Indian cricket team. Next day onward, you will see so many criticism coming from every corner of the this thing. It seems as if everybody knows how to play cricket, and they are, you know, critical commentators and experts. If you know so much, get down to the field. Ask Sachin Saurav not to play anymore or Virat Kohli not to play anymore. Y'all get into the field, but no, they need to comment. Here also, we are seeing that. So, no one in the group knew much about satellites, but that did not stop them from offering their views. Said Chondi Babu, somebody sees a point of light in some obscure corner of the sky and the press gets all excited about it. All humbug. Humbug is stupid. Ramkanai countered this remark, retorted. He was still young. No, it may be any be of us here. He is a human, but it is a human achievement, surely, and a great achievement at that. So each of them giving their own opinion. Well, you wouldn't expect a bunch of monkeys to do that, would you? All right, said Neetu Babu, let's not talk of satellites. After all, it's just a machine. Going round the earth, they say. No difference from a spinning top. So they are so ignorant that they are considering a satellite as equivalent to a spinning top. A top would start spinning if you got it going, or a fan would start to rotate if you pressed a switch. A satellite's the same. But think of a rocket that can't be dismissed so easily, can it? Chondi Babu wrinkled his nose. A rocket? Why? What good is a rocket? All right, if one was made here in our country, took it off from Maidan in Kolkata, that is central Calcutta, and we would all go and buy tickets to watch the show. Well, then, that would be nice. But you're right, Ramkanai agreed. A rocket has no meaning for us here in this village. Bhairav Chakraborty spoke next. So we see here how shallow and hollow these people are. None of them actually know what is what, but they have to give their opinion. And see, all of their opinion are basically very, very hollow. They do not contain any substance. But because they need to prove their worth, they need to prove their mettle, they are commenting. Bhairav Chakraborty spoke next. Suppose some creature from a different planet arrived on Earth, so what? Even if it did, you and I would never be able to see it. Yes, that's true enough. Everybody turned their attention to their cups of tea. There did not seem to be anything left to be said. After a few moments of silence, Bonku Babu cleared its throat and said gently, suppose they came here. So after everybody is finished and nobody has really left anything to be spoken of because their knowledge is very limited, now speaks Bonku Babu. Nidu Babu feigned total amazement. Hey Bunkum, wants to say something. What did you say, Bunkum? Who's going to come here? Where from? See, these men are so shallow that even they're distorting a person's name. Bonku Babu, they are calling Bunkum. Why? To illicit, I mean, you know, Bonku Babu is made such a ridicule that even his name is not pronounced properly. So they are not only distorting his name, in the process, they are ending up distorting his identity, which is very, very dehumanizing. Basic infringement of human right. Bonku Babu repeated his words, his tone still gentle. Suppose someone from a different planet came here. As he did so often, Bhairav Chakraborty slapped Bonku Babu's back loudly and rudely, grinned and said, Bravo! What a thing to say! What a creature from another planet going to land? Not Moscow, not London, not New York, not even Calcutta, but here in Kakulkachi. You do think big Bonkum, don't you? So this person says, what did you say? First, he not to forget that he slapped Bonku on his back. Bonku Babu is not even that sort of an individual who could be given a respect. So he can be slapped on his back. And now they are trying to disregard his opinion by what? By saying so. See, there are so many big cities, New York and all those, London, New York, Moscow. So the aliens thought not to land there but come here in Calcutta. How stupid of you. Bonku Babu fell silent, but several questions rose in his mind. Was it really possible? If an alien had to visit the Earth, would it really matter where it arrived first? Because an alien does not know what is London, what is Moscow. Why these men are saying is because of their colonial hangover. The British had ruled these places, and for them, anything that is foreign is good, and anything that is from home is bad. So, an alien should also go to a foreign land and not come here. That is what their mindset is. Colonial hangover, that is. So, Bonku Babu is restricting to his opinion. If an alien had to visit the earth, would it really matter where it arrived first? Because he doesn't know what is foreign and what is home. You do, all right, it was highly unlikely that such a thing would happen in Kapulkachi village. But who was to say for sure that it would not happen at all? Sripati Babu was silent so far. Now, as he shifted in his seat, everyone looked at him. He put his cup down, spoke knowledgeably. Look, if someone from a different planet does come to Earth, I can assure you that he will not come to this god-forsaken place, because after all, that's a village. Those aliens are no fools. It is my belief that they are Sahibs. See, I told you these people are, highly intoxicated with the colonial hangover. So they are under the impression that these are foreigners, Sahibs, and they will land in some Western country where all the Sahibs live. Understand? Everyone agreed with the sole exception being Bonku Babu. Chondi Babu decided to take things a bit further. He nudged Nitu Babu silently, pointed at Bonku Babu, and spoke innocently. While I think Bonku Babu is quite right, isn't it natural that aliens should want to come to a place where there is a man like our Bonku Bihari? If they wanted to take away a human specimen, could they find anything better? So the he's trying to elicit laughter out of this, that if the aliens want to take away some person from here, who's going to be a better choice than Bonku Babu himself? No, I don't think so. Nidhu Babu joined him. Consider his looks, not to mention his brains. Yes, Bonkum would be the ideal specimen. Right, suitable for keeping in a museum or a zoo, Ramkanai chipped in. Bonku Babu did not reply, but wondered silently if anyone were to actually look for a specimen, were not the others just as suitable. Look at Sripati Babu, his chin was so much like a camel's, and that Bhairav Chakraborty, his eyes were like the eyes of a tortoise. Nidhu Babu looked like a rat, Ramkanai like a goat, and Chondi Babu like a flitter mouse, if zoo really had to be filled up. This is what Bonku Babu is thinking. Alright. Tears sprang up to his eyes. Bonku Babu had come to the meeting hoping for once to enjoy himself. That was clearly not to be. He could not stay here any longer. The degree of insult and humiliation has gone to such an extent that he found it extremely dehuming, to sit there and continue. He got to his feet. Take care, Bonkuda, warned Ramkanai. It is a moonless night, remember, and it's a Saturday, very auspicious for ghosts and spooks. Everyone howled with delighted laughter. Bonku Babu was not carrying a torch or a lantern. There was no need for it. It was too cold for snakes to be out and about, and he knew his way very well. Normally, not many people took this route, but it meant a shortcut for him. So he was going back home through a shortcut. In the last few minutes, he had become aware of something unusual. At first, he could not put his finger to it. Somehow, things were different tonight. What was wrong? What was missing? Suddenly, he realized what it was. The crickets were silent. Crickets are those insects. Not one was chirping. Today, there was an eerie silence, strange silence. What had happened to all these crickets? Were they asleep? Puzzled, Bonku Babu walked another 20 yards and suddenly he saw the light. At first, he thought he thought that a fire had broken out. Bang! In the middle of Poncha Ghosh's bamboo grove in the clearing near a small pond. Quite a large area was glowing pink. A dull light shone on every branch and every leaf down below the ground behind. The pond was lit by a much stronger pink light, but it was not a fire, for it was still. Bonku Babu kept moving, so an unusual sight was awaiting for him. All at once his ears began ringing. He felt as if someone was humming loudly, a long steady noise. There was no way he could stop it. Bonku Babu broke into goose pimples, but an irrepressibly curiosity drove him further forward. So he was getting extremely scared. Okay, but the thirst for knowing what lies ahead was so much that he kept moving forward. As he went past a cluster of bamboo stems, an object came into view. It looked like a giant glass bowl turned upside down, covering the pond completely. It was through its translucent shade that a strong yet gentle pink light was shining out to turn the whole area radiant. He took a few steps to get a better look. but suddenly felt as if an electric current had passed through his body. In the next instant, he was rendered completely immobile because he's become too numb. His hands and feet were tied with an invisible rope. There was no strength left in his body. He could neither move forward nor backward. So, you see, he's become so nervous seeing what lay ahead of him that he was unable to move. A few moments later, Bonku Babu, still fixed stiffly at the same spot, saw that the object had gradually stopped breathing. All at once, his ears ceased ringing and the humming stopped. A second later, a voice spoke, shattering the silence of the night. It sounded human, but was extraordinarily thin. Millipee Ping Crook, it said loudly. Bonku Babu jumped a little. What did it mean? What language was this? And where was the speaker? Because he was not being able to see properly. The next words the voice spoke made his heart jump again. Who are you? Who are you? Why, these were English words, was the question addressed to him. Bonku Babu swallowed. I am Bonku Bihari Datta, sir. Bonku Bihari Datta, he replied. Are you English? Are you English? The voice went on. No, sir. Bonku Babu shouted back. Bengali said. A Bengali. Bengali said. So he was desperately trying to show his identity. This was followed by a short pause, then the voice came back speaking clearly. Namaskar. Banku Babu heaved a sigh of relief and returned the greeting. Namaskar. Now why was he relieved? Because he saw that the person he's speaking to is speaking the same kind of language he's aware of. Okay. So that was a source of relief. He said suddenly, realizing that the invisible bonds that were holding him tightly had disappeared. He was free to run away because he was becoming calm now. He was no longer that worried. But he did not. Now he's astounded that his scared eyes could see that a portion of the glass mount was sliding to on one side, opening out like a door. So you see, the alien was trying to come out of the spacecraft. Through that door emerged a head like a plain, smooth ball, then the body of a weird creature. Its arms and legs were amazingly thin, that is, extremely thin. With the exception of its head, its whole body was covered by a shiny pink outfit. Instead, instead of ears, it had tiny holes on each side of its head. On the face were two holes where there should have been a nose and another. This is the description of the alien. Okay, this is very important. You could get this for your 4 mark question. On the face, there were two holes where there should have been a nose and another gaping hole instead of a mouth. There was no sign of hair anywhere. Its eyes were round and bright yellow. They appeared to be glowing in the dark. The creature walked slowly towards Boku Babu and stopped only a few feet away. Then it gave him a steady, unblinking stare. Automatically, Bonku Babu found himself folding his hands. Having stared at him for nearly a minute, it spoke in the same voice that sounded more like a flute than anything else. Are you a human? Yes. Is this Earth? Yes. Ah, I thought as much. My instruments were not working properly. I was supposed to go to Pluto, name of a planet. I wasn't sure where I had landed, so I spoke to you first in the language they use on Pluto. When you didn't reply, I could tell I had landed on Earth. A complete waste of time and effort. It happened once before also. Instead of going to Mars, I veered off, that is, I digressed, and went to Jupiter. Delayed me by a whole day. It did. Hey, hey, hey. So he's trying to make things easier, as in how he has landed up on Earth. Bonku Babu did not know what to say. He was feeling quite uncomfortable, for the creature had reached out and was examining Bonku Babu's arms and legs with its long bony fingers. When it finished, it introduced itself. I am Ang from the planet Cranius, a far superior being than man. What? This creature, barely 4 feet tall, with such thin limbs and weird face, was superior to man. Bonku Babu found it a bit difficult to believe. Boku Babu nearly burst out laughing and read his mind immediately. There's no need to be so skeptical. I can prove it. How many languages do you know? Bonku Babu scratched his head. Bengali, English, and Hindi. A little Hindi, I mean, which all of us know. You mean two and a half? Yes. I know 14,000. There isn't a language in our solar system that I do not know. You know, there is not only one solar system in space. Scientists claim there are several thousands of solar systems. And so he says the solar system to which he belongs to, he knows the languages of that entire solar system. I have been to 25 of them. How old are you? I am 50. I am 833. Do you eat animals? Bonku Babu had mutton curry only recently on the day of Kali Pujo. How could he deny it? We stopped eating meat several centuries ago. So he's 833-year-old. He is a vegetarian compared to Bonku Babu, who's only 50-year-old. Ang informed him, before that we used to eat flesh of most creature. I might also have eaten you. Bonku Babu swallowed hard. Now he got scared a little. Take a look at this. Ang offered him a small object. It looked like a pebble. Bonku Babu touched it for an instant and felt the same electric current pass through his body. He withdrew his hand at once. Ang smiled. A little while ago, you could not move an inch. Do you know why? It was because I had this little thing in my hand. It would stop anyone from getting closer. Nothing can be more effective than this in making an enemy utterly powerless without actually hurting him physically. So, with that instrument, Ang had actually made Bonku Babu, stand very, very firm in his ground. And now Bonku Babu was genuinely taken aback, that is, surprised. His mind was coming out of its stunned state. Ang said, is there any place that you wish to visit or a scene that you long to see but never could? Bonku Babu thought, why the whole world remained to be seen? Because he taught geography, So he, as a geography lover, as a lover of geography, as a lover of places, he wanted to visit various places. So he taught geography, but what had he seen except a few villages and towns in Bengal? He was not that well off. There was so much in Bengal itself that he had never had the chance to see. The snow capped Himalayas, the seashore in Digha, the forest in the Sundarbans, or even that famous banyan tree in the botanical gardens of Shibpur. However, he mentioned none of those thoughts to Anne. There is so much I would like to see, he finally admitted, but most of all, I would like to visit the North Pole. I come from a warm country, you see. Anne took out a small tube, one end of which was covered by a piece of glass. Take a look through this. Ang invited. Bonku Babu peered through the glass and felt his hair rise. Could this be true? So, through that glass, he could see actually the places he wished to visit. Before him stretched an endless expanse of snow, dotted with large hillocks, also covered with ice and snow. Above him, against a deep blue sky, all the colors of a rainbow were forming different patterns, changing every second. The aurora borealis, what was that? So, all these things he wished to see in his lifetime, now he could see them thanks to Anne. What was that? An igloo? What was the group of there was a group of polar bears. Wait, there was another animal, a strange peculiar creature. Yes, it was a walrus. There were two of them, in fact, and they were fighting. Their tusks were bared, large as radishes, and they were attacking each other, streams of bright and red blood flowing on the soft white snow. It was December, and Bonku Babu was looking at an area hidden under the layers of snow. Still, he broke out into a sweat, so he was very, very intrigued by seeing all of this. What about Brazil? Don't you wish to go there? Asked Anne. Bonku Babu remembered instantly. Piranhas, those deadly carnivorous fishes. Amazing. How did this Ang know what he would like to see? Every time I'm reading this, I'm reminded of that particular scene from PK movie, wherein Amir Khan would touch the hand of the person and get in the language, the whatever is going on in the person's mind. Okay, so if you have seen that movie, you would be able to relate to this. So only a little scattered sunlight had crept in through the almost impenetrable foliage, that is, plants. There was a huge tree and hanging from a branch. What was that? Oh God, he could never have imagined the size of that snake, Anaconda. The name flashed through his eyes. Yes, he had read about it in an old issue, the National Geographic magazine. It was said to be much, much larger than a python, so he could see all of it in front of his eyes thanks to Ang. Oh, there, here was a canal, crocodiles lined in banks, sleeping in the sun. One was going to go into the water, splash. Boku Babu could almost hear the noise, but the crocodile had jumped out of the water very quickly. With this eyes nearly popping out, Bonku Babu noted that there was virtually no flesh left on the belly of the crocodile. Bones were showing through, clearly attached to the remaining flesh were five fish with amazingly sharp teeth and a monstrous appetite, piranha. So he saw crocodiles being feasted on by piranhas. Boku Babu could not bear to watch anymore. Remember, in those days there were no discoveries on Animal Planet. So Bonku Babu had never seen all of it. For the first time, he's getting to see all of this. His limbs were trembling, his head reeled painfully. Now, do you believe that we are superior? Ang wanted to know. Boku Babu ran his tongue over his parched lips, dry lips, because out of nervousness, the moisture from his lips has vanished. Yes, oh yes, certainly, of course, he croaked. Very well. Look, I have been observing you, and I have examined your arms and legs. You belong to a much inferior species. There is no doubt about that. However, as human beings go, you are not too bad. I mean, you're a good human, so and could read through the character, Bonku Babu. But you have a major fault. You are much too weak and mild. But that is why you have made so little progress in life. That is, you studied, you became a teacher, and that is how you've remained all your life. There has been no upgradation for you. And why is that? Because you're too timid. You never fight for what is right. That is what Ang has understood. You must always speak up against injustice and protest if anyone hurts or insults you without any provocation. To take things quietly is wrong, not just for man but for any creatures anyway. So, this is the hallmark of a true friend. A true friend will tell you, or rather, will guide you to see what is true and what is incorrect. Alright. Ang performs the role of a true friend here. And he pinpoints Bonku Babu's flaws right in front of him. He tells the major problem with you is you're a good soul. You are too good as a soul and very honest. And that is why, since you do not protest against any injustice, you have not been able to make any progress in life. But if, as an individual, you do not protest against the wrongs that have been committed, then that is also not correct. You need to raise your voice against all the injustices. But mind you, Bonku Babu did not tell Ang anything about what kind of, psychological torture he is subjected to always. Ang understood it on its own. A true friend need not know everything by listening or hearing. He can only understand. Ang performs that role. Uh, To take things quietly is wrong, not just for man, but for any creature anyway. Anyway, it was nice to have met you. Although I wasn't really supposed to be here at this time, there is no point in wasting more time on your earth. I had better go. Goodbye, Mr. Rang. I'm very glad to have met you. Bonku Babu could not complete his sentence in less than a second, almost before he could grasp what was happening, and had leapt into his spaceship and risen over Pochaghos's bamboo grove. Then he vanished completely. Bonku Babu realized that the crickets had started chirping again. It was really quite late. So that was the brief encounter between Ang and Bonku Babu. But this brief encounter is going to change the course of life of Bonku Babu forever. Bonku Babu resumed walking towards his home, his mind still in a wondrous haze. Slowly, the full implication of the recent events began to sink in. A man, no, it was not a man, it was an Ang, had come here from an unknown planet and spoken to him. How extraordinary, how completely, how incredible. There were billions and millions of people in the world, but who got the chance to have this wonderful experience? Bonku Bihari Datta, the teacher of geography and Bengali at Kakurgachi village primary school. No one else. From today, at least in this particular matter, he was unique in this wide whole world. Nobody has made him believe that. He was always made to believe that he's fit for nothing, he's good for nothing. But now, Ang made him realize his worth. Bonku Babu realized that he was no longer walking with a spring in every step. He was actually dancing because he got to know his true potential, true worth. The next day was a Sunday. Everyone had turned up for their usual meeting at Sripati Babu's home. There was a report in the local paper about a strange light, but it was only a small report. This light had been seen by a handful of people in only two places in Bengal. It was therefore being put in the same category as sightings of flying saucers. Tonight, Pocha Ghosh was also present at the meeting. He was talking about his bamboo grove. All the bamboos around the pond in the middle of the wood had lost their leaves. Why? Because the spacecraft has come and landed there, no? It was not unusual for leaves to drop off in winter, but for so many plants to become totally bare overnight was certainly a remarkable occurrence. Everyone was talking about it when suddenly Bhoirab Chakraborty said, "Why is Bonku so late today?" Because what is happening? If Bonku is so late today, they are not being able to make a bully of him. Everyone stopped talking. So far, no one had noticed Bonku Babu's absence. I don't think Bonkum will show his face here today. Didn't he get an earful yesterday when he tried to open his mouth? Said Nidu Babu. No, no, no. Sripati Babu sounded concerned. We must have Bonku. Ramkanai, go and see if you can get hold of him. Because if Bonku is not here, whom are we going to make a bully? Okay, I'll go as soon as I have had my tea, replied Ramkanai. Anne was about to take a sip when Bonku Babu entered the room. No, to say entered would be wrong. It was as if a small hurricane inside the guise of a short, dark man, throwing everyone into a stunned silence. So Bonku Babu walks in, or rather, comes in like a storm. Then it swung into action. Bonku Babu burst into a guffaw. Guffaw is a strange laughter and laughed uproariously, hilariously, with loud noise. For a whole minute, the like of which no one had heard before, not even Bonku Babu himself. When he could finally stop, he cleared his throat and began speaking. Friends, now look at the tone of Bonku Babu. Friends, I have great pleasure in telling you that this is the last time you will see me at your meetings. The only reason I'm here today is simply that I would like to tell you a few truths before I go. Number one, this is for all of you. You all speak a great deal of absolute rubbish. Only idiots talk of things they don't know anything about. Number two, this is for Chandi Babu. At your age, hiding other people's shoes and umbrellas is not just childish but totally stupid and wrong because Chandi Babu has done that for Bonku Babu. Kindly return my umbrella and brown canvas shoes to my house tomorrow. Nidhu Babu, if you call me Bumkum, I shall call you Nitwit. something to rhyme with dimwit, who is a foolish person. And you must learn to live with that. And Sripati Babu, you are an important man, of course. You must have chamchas, sycophants, but let me tell you from today, you can count me out. I'm not coming anymore. If you like, I can send my cat to you. It's good at licking feet. And oh, you are here as well, Pochababu. Let me inform you and everyone else that last night an Ang arrived from the planet Cranius and landed on the pond in your bamboo grove. We had a long chat. The Ang was most amiable, friendly. Bonku Babu finished his speech and slapped Bhairav Chakraborty's back so hard that he choked. Why? Because the other day, Bhairav Chakraborty had slapped. Then he made his exit, striding out with a bounce and with a whistle, eyes sparkling, his head held high. So, thanks to Ang and Ang's words, that we see the evolution in the character of Bonku Babu. Boku Babu is no longer that mild and weak man, but is rather an individual who is not afraid to speak the truth. Thus, Ang performs the role of a true friend. In the same instant, the cup fell from Ramkanai's hand, shattering to pieces and splattering hot tea on almost everyone. So, alright, so that's the story. Now, what do you think is the theme of the story? The theme of the story is definitely bullying. That bullying is a crime, and neither should we indulge in it, and not let anybody else indulge in it. Because when we laugh at others, it is very, very dehuman. Okay, it is very, very demeaning. And when we laugh with the others, it is always a positive idea and a connotation. But when we are laughing at others, it is extremely bad because the person we are laughing at is demeaned, is shattered, not only psychologically and emotionally, but also physically. Okay, that we've seen in the case of Boku Babu. And secondly is friendship. Friendship beyond boundaries, friendship beyond borders. uh, and coming from a different planet proves to be a far better friend than what Sripati Mojumdar and the Adnitu Babu and others were for Bonku Babu. Alright. Title of the story is absolutely justified. Bonku Babu's friend because of Ang only. The role played by Yang, we see the evolution of Boku Babu and his character, who is now no longer scared to stand for truth, to speak for what is right. Alright, we stop here today. We'll be back soon with another video. Till then, goodbye and take care. But before you leave, do not forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, goodbye, take care, have lots of fun.